And the Mets are in a different position here, Ray. If you look at Monday's game, Tuesday's game, Monday against Cincinnati, Tuesday's game here in Arizona, and now tonight. After the Diamondbacks got the 3 runs in the 3rd inning, and now the 4th, and now, of course, the Mets will end the 5th inning here behind. These are the only 3 innings of these 3 games that the Mets have trailed, most of which they've led. 15 of the 23 innings they've led. They've been tied for 5, and now these 3 innings they've trailed. Bell with a sharp single to left field, and he leads off with an important leadoff base runner for Arizona.
But no matter what, they're going to go home 1-1, and they've got a victory coming out of here, playing away, regardless of what happens in this ballgame.
And if you're looking ahead, the best 2 pitchers they've had down the stretch, as we mentioned, Reed and Leiter, are going when Arizona's best 2 pitchers have already worked, and they're going to go with Dahl in game 3 and Brian Anderson, not Andy Bennis, in game 4. So on paper, advantage to the Mets in the pitching in New York. However, on paper, Randy Johnson against Masato Yoshi, advantage Arizona. That didn't work out. As somebody once said, Ray, that's why they play the games.
Yeah, Omar Dahl can pitch, Boomer. I'm not so sure that matchup right there does not. If it doesn't favor Arizona, it certainly is an even matchup with the way Rick Reed has pitched his last couple of outings. Certainly that 4.58 is not Rick Reed-like.
Not that we've seen those last 3 outings where he's come up big.
But a lot of hitters talk about Dahl being very difficult because of that tight slider, and he's got that real herky-jerky motion, 3/4, and the ball just moves everywhere. So he's not an easy draw for any hitter.
Gonzalez 2 for 3 last night and is 0 for 0 tonight. Walked and then was hit by pitch, so he's been aboard 4 times. Pitches already, huh?
Not too bad. You're talking through 5 innings. If you had 15 pitches, that would be 75. So he's just a little heavy with his pitch count. When I say 15 pitches,
a little action in the bullpen. We saw Dotel earlier, and that's Pat getting closer to Mahomes. For you Grand Funk Railroad fans. Bobby was probably a Grand Funk Railroad fan. That's about the right era.
I did some research, Chris, about 5 or 6 years ago on starting pitchers in pitch count, because so much has gone as far as focus on pitch count. And so I started charting major league games and looking at the records and the earned run averages, and I came up with 15 pitches per inning, per outing, for those pitchers that had a 500 record or better and under a 4 earned run average. Now that changes a little bit when you're talking about a power pitcher like Randy Johnson. He'll throw 17, 18 pitches per inning, but generally 15 pitches is a good barometer.
They fooled him there. That was a frisbee that Gonzalez strikes out on. 5 Ks, 6 Ks now for Rocky. And the new pitcher, has sparkled at times, Ray, for the Mets, Pat Mahomes.
Well, he really has. 29 years old. Pat Mahomes spent the last 2 years in AAA, starting pitcher for Minnesota, and struggled there. Went to Boston, struggled in the starting rotation. The Mets acquired him, and he actually went to Japan. And then he played in AAA earlier this year. Put him into the bullpen, and he's done a great job for him out of the bullpen.
Yeah, how about 8-0?
Yeah, one of those guys that had a tough time as a starting pitcher getting around the lineup more than one time. So now he's in an ideal situation, middle to long relief, so he can face 5, 6, 7, 8 hitters for you. And right-handers just hitting 185 off of him.
Past the diving Ordonez. Williams is aboard again. Bell making the turn, but with the ball right there in center field, he was going nowhere. So Matt Williams, who really struggled and kind of got a gift base hit his last time up with a little 50-footer, That was more Williams-like, driven into center field. So he's 2 for 3 tonight. Breaking ball by Mahomes, misses ball 1.
The way that Buck Showalter put this lineup together with Colburn hitting after Williams, right? Cook is up in the bullpen. Finley, a left-hander, Gilkey, a right-hander with the left-handers on the bench, makes it pretty hard for Bobby to do anything to counter, because whatever he does to counter a move by Buck can come right back with Lenny Harris or Durazo from the left side.
Ball inside to Colburn. Fouls almost directly behind him. He was kind of getting around on it.
A little short on the right side of the plate with just Hanley Frias and Damian Miller, who's tender. Ward, switch hitter over there.
Nunez nudging in behind the base runner Bell a little bit, trying to deke him so that maybe he doesn't have an automatic score from second base on a single.
Another thing, too, about Colburn and Gilkey, both, they have been everyday players. And now that they're platooning here, they faced a lot of right-handed pitching, so it's not something that's foreign to them. Colburn playing every day in Miami, having a big year down there. Gilkey all those years with the Cardinals, and that big year in '95 with the Mets. Actually, '96, where he hit 30 home runs.
That's foul. We'll do it again. Bell back to second. Williams back to first.
Mahomes, when he was with Minnesota, was a straight four-seam fastball pitcher and a curveball. He had a big breaking curveball, pretty much 12-6 straight up and down north and south, and just didn't have a third pitch. Now he's developed a slider, a changeup with Dave Wallace. Tries to get ahead with a first pitch fastball and then get you out with spotted sliders and curveballs.
Very athletic player. As you see him jogged in from the bullpen, was runner-up Mr. Basketball in Texas. Steve Finley, the man that put the Diamondbacks into the lead with a 2-run, 2-out base hit in the third, is on deck. Pitches inside just to finish up with Mahomes. Lindale, Texas. And you're right with the Twins, and that was a different sort of pitch.
Situation 3-2 now, going to be interesting. If Buck sends the runners here, as Matty Williams watches and sees what Jay Bell's going to do.
Not a lot of speed with Bell and Williams. He does not send him, and we'll do it again. I wouldn't think so with Finley up next. I mean, you do run your chance of getting one of them gunned out.
Yeah, and also it depends on what you feel about the pitcher-batter matchup. If you don't think Colburn is going to put the ball in play, you certainly don't run them. But what it does, it makes both of those infielders in the middle of the infield move. It makes the third baseman have to go to cover the bag at third base, so it creates a lot of holes. I like running here 3-2.
He did not the first time. He does not this time. And Colburn, who drove in a run with a bases loaded walk, looking for another base on balls, doesn't get it. Struck out looking. 2 down for Finley now. So here's Steve Finley. 2 ribbies tonight. 1 for 2. Finley already in his 11th season, but he doesn't slow down at all, does he, Ray? He had 7 multi-homer games this year, by the way, which only McGuire had more. At 9, he and Barry Bonds at 7. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily think that he would have as much as just about anybody else. He gets in a groove, he gets going. So
last year,
we're getting going. I'm sorry.
Last year in San Diego, he just hit 14 home runs and hit 249. A lot of people thought he'd slowed down after having 30 home runs and 28 home runs in '96 and '97. But everybody has a bad year every once in a while. Keeps himself in pristine shape. I'll tell you what, he knows how to play this game. And Buck Showalter talked about perfectionist. He said that probably Steve Finley is as big a perfectionist as he's had in any ball club.
Swinging at 3-0. The count now 3-1.
Meaning that he goes out, he works hard in spring training. He knows he's not going to be perfect, but he tries to practice and prepare perfectly so that when game time comes, he's as good as he can be. A lot of people go out and lollygag during practice and don't really give their best effort. And you'll never see that in Steve Finley. He's all business all the time.
Ripped to left center field. Bell will score easily. This goes all the way to the wall. Williams being arranged around third. The throw comes in. They won't even contest it. Finley delivers again. 5-1 Arizona. Single and double for Finley and 4 RBIs and a fastball to Gilkey is up high for a ball. And Buck Martinez last night, 3 2/3 of one-hit relief for the Mets. Not tonight.
Well, Pat Mahomes has been good down the stretch, but those 2 big hits for the Diamondbacks could be pivotal. Last night, Cook, Wendell, and Benitez shut down the Diamondbacks in a 4-4 game until the Alfonso home run in the 9th. So the bullpen has an opportunity to give the Mets offense a chance to get back in the game, but Mahomes has given up 2 big base hits here.
Breaking ball away to Gilkey, 2-1. Rogers was gone after 1 out here in the 5th. Holmes came in with a single to Williams, struck out Colburn, but then surrendered the double to Finley. And now gets Gilkey to sky it behind the plate. Piazza draws a beat on it, makes the catch. Steve Finley has given the Arizona Diamondbacks a big lead through 5. They're standing at the bottom for the 5-1 Arizona lead.